जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा 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 जय गुरुदेवा। गौर प्रेमानंदी। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रभुचार्य श्री श्रीमद ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवसादि गौर भक्तविंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय। श्री श्री राधा वल्लभ की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा देवी की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदी। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Om Ajnana-Timrandhasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurulmiltam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Mahavadamaya Vishnu Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaur Tusya Namah. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तविंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले स्मृति तमाल कृष्ण गोस्वामीति नामने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूत स्मृति भक्ति वेदांत स्वामीति नामने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. So we are speaking from Canto 7, chapter 9, text number 25. Prahlad purifies the Lord with prayers. कुताशिष सूर्ति सुखा मृगतृष्णिरूपः। कुताशिष सूर्ति सुखा मृगतृष्णिरूपः। केवदं केवलरहम् अशेष रुञ्जं विरोहा। केवदं कलेवरम् अशेष रुञ्जं विरोहा। निर्विद्यते न तु जानो यदपीति विद्वहम्। निर्विद्यते न तु जानो यदपीति विद्वन्। कामानलं मधुलभि समयं दुरापयि। कामानलं मधुलभि समयं दुरापयि। कुताशिषा सुरति सुखा मृगतृष्णिरूपः। केवदं कलेवरम् अशेषरुजं विरोहा। निर्विद्यते नातु जानो यद अपीति विद्वान् कामानलं मधुला विहिषं यन दुरपयि कुत्र शिशिशुर्तसुखा मृगतृष्णिरूपः केवेदं कलेवरमशेषरुञ्जं विरोहा निर्विद्यते नातु जानो यद अपीति विद्वान् कामानलं मधुला वही संयायं दुरापयि प्रभु सुतहासिता सुरति सुखा मृगतृष्णिरूपा केवदं कलेवरमशेषरुधां विरोहा निर्विद्यते तु जानो यदपि कुतः शिशा सुत सुखा मृगतृष्णिरूपः केवलं कलेवरमशेषरुजं विरोहा निर्विद्यते अनुजनो यदपीति विद्वान् कामालयं मधुलभेशं यहं दुरापहि कुत्र शिशासुति सुखा मृगतृष्णिरूपः केवलं कलेवरं शेषरुजं निर्विद्यते तनुजनो यदपीति विद्वान् कामालं मधुलभेशं यतं दुरापहि कुतः शिशा सुतशिखा मृगतृष्णिरूपा केवदं कलेवरमशेषरुञ्जं विरोहा निर्विद्यते तातु जानो यदपीति विद्वान् कामालं मधुलभेशं यहं दुरापहि माताजी कुत्र शिशा सुता सुखा मृगतृष्णिरूपा केवदं कलेवरमशेषरुञ्जं विरोहा निर्विद्यते नातु जानो यदपीति विद्वान् कामानलं मधुलभेशमयं दुरापहि कुत्र शिशा श्रुतिशिखा मृगतृष्णिरूपा केदं कलेवरमशेषरुञ्जं विरोहा निर्विद्यते नाथ जनो यदपीति विद्वान् कामानलं मधुलभेशमयं दुरापति कुत्र शिशा सुखं कीर्दां कलेशपरं शेषकृद्धारविरोधा निर्विद्यते तु न जनो यदपीति विद्वान् Kamadayam madhulave shamayam durapati. Kutra, where? Ashish, benediction. Surti Shukha, simply pleasing to to hear of. Mirga Trishni, Rupa, exactly like a mirage in the desert. Kav, where? Idham, this. Kalevara, body. Assess, unlimited. Runjam, of disease. Viroha, the place for gathering. Nirvidyate, becoming satiated. Na, not. To, but. Jana, people in general. Yad api, although. Iti, thus. Vidam, so-called learned philosophers, scientists and politicians. Kama analam, the blazing fire of lusty desire. Madhulavai, with drops of honey. Happiness. Samayan, controlling. Durapai, very difficult to obtain. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this material world, every living entity desires some future happiness, which is exactly like a mirage in the desert. Where is water in the desert? Or in other words, where is happiness in this material world? As for this body, what is its value? It is merely a source of various diseases. The so-called philosophers, scientists, and politicians know this very well. But nonetheless, they aspire for temporary happiness. Happiness is very difficult to obtain, but because they are unable to control their senses, they run after the so-called happiness of the material world and never come to the right conclusion. So repeat after me, please. In this material world, every living entity desires some future happiness, which is exactly like a mirage in the desert. Where is water in the desert? Or in other words, where is happiness in this material world? As for this body, what is its value? It is merely a source of various diseases. The so-called philosophers, scientists, and politicians know this very well. But nonetheless, they aspire for temporary happiness. Happiness is very difficult to obtain. But because they are unable to control their senses, they run after the so-called happiness of the material world and never come to the right conclusion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There is a song in Bengali language which states, I constructed this home for happiness, but unfortunately there was a fire and everything has become burnt to ashes. This illustrates the nature of the material happiness. Everyone knows it, but nonetheless one plans to hear of or think something very pleasing. Unfortunately, all of one's plans are annihilated in due course of time. There are many politicians who plan empires, supremacy, and control of the world. But in due time, all their plans and empires, and even the politicians themselves, were vanquished. Everyone should take lessons from Prahlad Maharaj about how we are engaged in so-called temporary happiness through bodily exercises for sense gratification. All of us repeatedly make plans which are all repeatedly frustrated. Therefore, one should stop such plan making. One cannot stop a blazing fire by constantly pouring ghee upon it. One cannot satisfy oneself by increasing plans for sense gratification. The blazing fire is the Mahabhava Devagani, the forest fire of material existence. This forest fire occurs automatically. Without endeavor, we want to be happy in the material world, but this will never be possible. We shall simply increase the blazing fire of desire. Our desire cannot be satisfied by usury thoughts and plans. Rather, we have to follow the instructions of Lord Krishna. Sarv dharam parityaja mam ekam sharnam vaja. Then we shall be happy. Otherwise, in the name of happiness, we shall continue to suffer miserable condition. Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. So this is the prayer from Prahlad Maharaj. How old is Prahlad Maharaj? 5 years old. And he's giving such nice prayers. So what is the secret? There's a couple of lessons to learn from that. First is that we should not judge the advancement of a person by their age. Prahlad Maharaj is only 5 years old. Some of these kids that are in our society, they are much more advanced than a lot of older people. Isn't that right? Anybody sitting in this temple is more advanced, because ultimately what this verse is trying to say is that doesn't matter how much education you have, whatever you have, how big a scientist you are, how big a philosopher you are, in the end, everything is lost. Everything doesn't have any value. But somebody who is a devotee of Krishna, he has the ultimate knowledge, or he is the path of that. So anybody in this temple, anybody who is a devotee of Krishna is more advanced, is better than anybody, any other philosopher who is running after material enjoyment. So we should actually respect that. When we see devotees, we see somebody young, we should not think that, oh, okay, I'm older, I have been in the movement for much longer and I'm more advanced. Because we don't know. Devotional service is different from material things. Material things, you get material. Even in material things, somebody is born in a rich family, he has all the opulences. Somebody born in a poor family starts much older. Somebody who is 80 years old is still poor, while a 5-year-old could be a millionaire. So we can see this in the material world. Same thing we should realize that in the spiritual world is the same thing. So we should respect that we should judge a person by spiritual advancement, not by material opulences. This, even though Prahlad Maharaj is only 5 years, these are transcendental realization. In the next verse you'll hear that Prahlad Maharaj prays very nicely, I've been blessed. I've been, Lord Nrsimhadev has been so merciful that he put his hand on my head. And because of that, because of the touch of the Lord, we get this transcendental realization. So, how do we make advancement? What are some of the fastest way to make advancement? What are some of there's 3 things mentioned, right? One is the association of the devotees. You take the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees, the spiritual master of the devotees. That's one of the fastest way, right? The other one, take prasadam that has been accepted by a pure devotee. Isn't that right? So these are the things, and you listen for. There are many ways, but these are the fast things. You take dust from the thing. You take. This is like you make very quick advancements in that way. So these are transcendental realization from Prahlad Maharaj. These are not ordinary things. He's only 5 years old, but the knowledge he's giving is beyond age. We all want happiness, but the end result is suffering. So if you are in the material world, doesn't matter how hard you try, whatever we do, how educated we are, we're going to lose everything. Prabhupada said is that in the end, even those philosophers, those big guys who had run the whole country, they had empires. What happened in the end? They had to leave everything. So why run after something that we're going to go and lose it? If you are thinking of making an investment, would you make an investment? If you think about it, would you make an investment if you know you're going to lose it? Isn't that right? And this is whatever we are running after. We're going to lose everything one day because everything is temporary. What is it like? He said, deer running after water, that is actually a mirage in the desert. How many of you seen a mirage? So, I have seen it because in Fiji it gets very hot. Usually you see it on sand and other places when it gets super hot. But we see it on the roads in Fiji because the tassel road, it gets so hot that the tassel, the black substance starts melting. And then when you look look a little bit further when the roads are straight, you can see there's like a glittering, just like there's water there. And this is what the deer see. So the first thing, the deer is thirsty. And then the second thing is it's so hot. And the third thing is, the deer is running after water. So already suffering because he's thirsty, already suffering because it's too hot. And third one is running in a hot weather when there's no water. And this is what our situation is. We have a body that is full of suffering. And we are trying to enjoy this. So we should stop running after this. Our situation is same. We are also running after material happiness where there is no happiness. So it's just like running after water in the desert where there is no water. We are trying to run after happiness. From material happiness, where there is no happiness. People say, okay, I am here, just like I was in Fiji. And we said, oh, we got a lot of problems there. There's a military coup here, Fiji is not a good place anymore. Let's go to Australia. Now I'm thinking I was better off in Fiji than I'm here, there's more suffering here. There's, if I was in Fiji, my house would have been paid off. I wouldn't have to worry about this interest rate and everything, no mortgage. I would have retired by now because in Fiji they retire at 55, not 67. You don't have to make an appointment to go to anybody's place. Here you have to be invited, a particular time has to be given. There you just rock up to your relatives and you're looked after. So which is the better of the place? But I thought the grass is greener on the other side. And that's what we are chasing after. We build our house with so much hope, but one day it gets bent. Well, that's what Prabhupada is saying, How does it get bent? Now you might be thinking, oh, not everybody's house get bent. But let's think about this body as our house, right? So how does this body get bent? Eventually it's death, right? But before that, yes, disease. You get sick, so every day you're losing about it. Not only that, what about divorce? You build a nice house and it's taken away from you. So many people build nice houses, dream houses, and then divorce happens, they have to sell it, they have to sell. Isn't that right? You build a nice company, you lose that. At one point I was counting, I had lived in more houses than the number of years I had lived in this body. I'm not joking. Moving one house like, back in Fiji we live here, you live there like that, So our body is this like a house, And disease, old age, death, these are some of the things that gonna affect us. Once Henry Ford's son, what is his name? Amrish Prabhu. Alfred, right? What's his Amrish Prabhu? He was asked when he met Prabhupada for the first time. So Prabhupada, somebody said, oh, this is Henry Ford's grandson, just like a big introduction because he was a big person, And rather than Prabhupada, then he said, where is Henry Ford now? In other words, he's such a big man, where is he now? You might be thinking you are a big person, one day you will be nothing as well. So this is our situation. Today we have everything and tomorrow we might lose everything. So don't look at your current situation, you've got a few houses, you got, everything, you got money, everything would be lost. It won't take a long time to actually lose everything. So how do we understand this knowledge? How do we learn this? We have to study the scriptures. So it's very Prabhupada has written so many books, we should study about this. Because to understand this, one thing you have to understand is what basically here we are talking about is death, that everything will be destroyed at one point. So we are talking about reincarnation. We are talking about the soul. So you have to go onto the level of the soul rather than on the bodily platform. So this is very important, that we understand this. And if you understand reincarnation, that we're going to come back again and again, then you try to put a stop to it. Because what does it mean? We learn from our current situation, right? Are we really happy here? You know, I work from 12 o'clock till 10 p.m. Some of my colleagues work from 1:30 p.m. to 12:30. Some start at 3 p.m. to 3 in the morning. This is the daily life, you know. And all the time they talk about, man, I have to go back home, you know, I have to go back to India, you know. What they think, you know, it's going to become any better? No, it will be the same problem. It's just a different kind of problem. Because the problem is that we are looking for happiness. And there is no happiness here. So, this is not our first life. You know, this is, we have lived many, many lifetimes. But, do you want to continue this? This is the question you want to ask. So first thing you have to understand, we are not this body, we are this soul. The body finishes. We have been coming many times again and again. Looking at your present life, are you happy with it? Do you want to put a stop to it? And this is where the question comes is, how do we get to do that? Now, how do you know about reincarnation, you know? Putna in a previous life, who was she? Was she daughter or wife? Sister. Okay. It could be either sister, daughter or wife, you know, one of those three, you know. I'm not sure. I was listening to the lecture from one of the Maharajas, and he said she was the wife. I have heard she was the daughter as well, and somebody said a sister. So one of the relationship, you know. Right. Now, when she saw Vamandev was so cute, you know, little kid, and what did she thought? What thought came into her mind? That she wanted to cuddle him in her hands and breastfeed him, basically. But then, in the end, what Vamandev did was, you know, he took everything from Bali Maharaj, could be the husband, the father, or the brother, right? And she got so angry, you know, he said, if I had a son like that, I'll poison him. Right? So she thought like that. Now, and when she came as Putna, now at that time, this is the karma. So she came next life, and whatever desire she had, that got fulfilled. She appeared in Vrindavan as a mother, because she had the desire to be a mother. She breastfed Krishna, but she also tried to poison him. So you see how reincarnation, whatever you desire in your one life, it goes on to the next life. So the goal of Krishna consciousness should be pursued. What is the goal of Krishna consciousness? How to stop this cycle. Now you learn from history, you read from the scriptures, you listen to the devotees, and you try to understand what is the goal of life. Do you want to come back again and again in this body and go through the same thing again and again? Or do you want to put a stop to this? So, what can give you this? Śrīmad Bhāgavatam can give you this knowledge. There are a lot of scriptures. There are scriptures that are giving different kinds of knowledge. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is one that can help you get out of this. Why Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? Because Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is non different from Krishna. So if you want to get out of this material world, you know, somebody was asking, one of my colleagues was asking, you know, what is the difference between Hindu and the Hare Krishnas, you know? I said, because he's from Sri Lanka, I said, what is the difference between Hindus and the Hare Krishnas? I said, Hindus are worshipping everybody, you know. They have actually there is no Hindu word in the scriptures. It's actually the people from one side of the river Sindhu called the other side of the people, instead they couldn't pronounce Sindhu, so they say Hindu. So that's how, on the other side of the river, which is basically they're called Hindus. Right? So he was asking, what is the difference? The difference is, I was explaining to him, there are 330 million demigods. So in India, the Hindus, which is what we call them, they could worship any one of them. Most of them follow point of the Vedic scriptures. But the Hare Krishnas have taken the essence of it. And their main goal is how to get out of this material world. To understand that we are the spirit soul, we are servant of Krishna, and we have to get out of it. So in the end, Prabhupada said, what is the beginning? What is the beginning of our spiritual life? Sarv dharam parityaja, maam ekam sharanam bhaja. So the last verse or the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is that we should surrender to Krishna. And what is the beginning of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? What is the first pastime that is mentioned in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? Major pastime? When Ashwatthama tries to kill Parikshit, and Uttara takes shelter of Krishna, and Krishna protects him. So that's basically the beginning of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So where Bhagavad Gita stops, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam starts. So we are very fortunate. I was talking to Gopavindeshwar Prabhu, we have sold 179 sets of Bhagavatam, in the last 6 months. The goal for the world was 55,000. Right? Was that Silicon Valley, right? They did 3,300 sets. 3,300 sets of Bhagavatam was done by, this is not in India, this is, I'm talking about in the West, who is that? Mahalakshmi did 40 sets of. Right. So 20% of what we almost did, 1% did it. And Gopava Vrindapraswar said we should increase the number, I said, just train 10 people like her, we'll have 400 sets of Bhagavatam, Eh? Yeah, that's it. But if she can do it, we all can do it. Isn't that right? So that's the goal. The goal is that at the end of our life, we should get love of Krishna. And Śrīmad Bhāgavatam gives us how we can do that. The 10 cantos, the last canto is basically telling, how the gopis surrendered, which is the topmost end of the love of Krishna, how to achieve that. But not only that, it talks about all the different rasas, how the seven saves the Krishna, how the friends, how Yashoda Maya and every. So depending on whichever ras you have, you can actually understand how to save Krishna. Prahlad is saying, stop running after material enjoyment. His father, Hiranyakashipu, he did so much austerity. He was the most powerful person on the planet apart from Brahma, Vishnu and Lord Shiva. And in the end, he lost everything. He said, look at me, I can see he was such a strong personality. Now he's dying, dead there. So in the end, Krishna will kill us all in the form of Kal, in form of time. So it's not only Hiranyakashipu was killed by Krishna, we will all die one day. Until we stop this, getting this material body and get a spiritual body, then that process stops. Because this material body has a beginning, anything that has a beginning has an end. So I was telling my friend, our religion is not we are Hindus, we are actually Sanatan Dharam. Sanatan means something that has a beginning, there is no beginning and no end. But this body is not Sanatan, it is temporary. So whatever religion is in association with body is not Sanatan. The only thing Sanatan is the soul, that is us, our true identity. Now, somebody asked me this question, so I thought I might as well answer this, In my last class, I was explaining, some people got upset and some people were happy with what I said. But I was talking about building the temple in the West, And somebody asked me, what should we do? How should we actually tackle this situation? Generally, people start blaming other people. But we should not blame anybody. Everybody, if you put your shoes put your feet in their shoes, you'll understand where they're coming from. So, as I was saying, we in the meeting we talk about building a temple. So, what we should look at now, having a logical mind. When I gave a class last time, it was more like instant. The problem was that I couldn't cook for everybody. Radha Ashtami, they wanted a program in the West, and we didn't have the capacity to cook for. So I was a bit upset, and people were asking me, why can't you provide us prasadam? So, that was the reaction to it. But thinking about it, now, we have a problem here. The problem is that this temple is too small, right? Every festival time, when we look at it, when we come here, and there's so many people outside, they can't even enter. Radha Ashtami, my wife came at 12:30. She could not enter the temple. It was so packed, right? She came back at 4:30. She just managed to get in. She said, one family were coming out. I quickly went in, And then it was just so quickly. So we have a problem. In 1975, as Gyana Samudra Prabhu said, when Prabhupada was shown this temple, he was so happy. But he said, he was asked, what do you think of the temple? Prabhupada said, too small. Everybody was thinking this temple is such a big temple. But we can see that now. Right? So what we have to see is, my point was, I wasn't trying to offend anybody. And one of the things that was pointed out is that, as I said, that Prabhupada's disciple built this temple. It was pointed out that not only him, a lot of other people were involved into that. So I wasn't trying to give credit to anybody. I was just trying to make a point that we need a bigger place. That was my goal. Right? So we'll have to see, if you really want to see how to do it, what we have to see is what are the problems we have now here. First thing is the temple is not big enough, right? The other problem is we have got parking problem. It's a parking problem. On Radha Ashtami, I was leaving. This is like 10:06. People were parked outside in the permit zone. And they were already getting tickets. And then we have got so much problem with the neighbors. Now, my Guru Maharaj in Houston and Dallas, what he did was, whatever money they got, they bought land around it. And all the land around it is actually owned by the devotees. Well, we didn't do that, right? And then I was talking to my sister in LA. I said, how many people came for Janmashtami? She said about 700 people. LA is one of the first temples that was built by Srila Prabhupada. I said, Prabhupada's Vyas Puja, she said about 300 people. Now I'm just talking, they own all the land around the place. But how many people came to the program? So some places have different kind of things that are benefit. What is better? Having 20,000 people come to the temple or own all the land around the place? So we have to understand that whatever we did here, we did something right. Right? Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj said that we would rather sell the bricks or the marbles of the temple to maintain a devotee. So devotee is more important than all the material stuff. And this is basically credit goes to our management, Anuruddha Prabhu, who has actually done this. So many people came to the temple, there's so many. Why? If we are in a place like LA, there's hardly any preaching going in there. That's why not many people come there. They have got some of the most number of disciples of Prabhupada there, but not many people come to the temple. And what is this? I was thinking about it. What is the success? Why are we so big on devotees here than other thing? Now let's look at Sydney temple, opened same time as Melbourne temple. How many people went there? Right? And the main thing is prasadam distribution here. I've been cooking for more than 23 years. Anuruddha Prabhu, the management have never stopped me from cooking whatever I wanted. Now they might complain about, we have got financial problem, but they let me cook prasadam. And then one day actually, one Mataji, she was telling me, why are you cooking so much? Why are you cooking so much? And we cook opulent prasadam here, I was telling somebody the other day, if somebody is living nearby, and they can come to the temple 10, 15 minutes, why won't they come to the temple rather than cook at home? Because the prasadam is so opulent here. And she said, why do you cook so much? I didn't say anything, I just looked down on the bench next to her. She had 5 stacks of plates made, I didn't say anything, And she said, this is for my children at home, And I said, yeah, everybody has the same thing, So this is one temple where you not only get prasadam, but you can take prasadam as much as, This is one place, this one temple, I have seen people make plates and forget to take it. You see, go in the kitchen, the plate is made. Whose plate is this? Don't know, probably somebody forgot, They bake barfi and they put it aside and they forget about it because there's so much opulence here. And this is the main thing that has actually brought us where we are. So this is better than anything else. I love to eat, and this is why I came to the temple, and that's why I'm still here. So it is very important to understand this. Nobody is perfect, no situation is perfect, but I would rather be here in Melbourne than anywhere else. Okay, we're going to stop here. Any comments, any questions? Yes, bro.
Sydney Temple stopped charging for prasadam.
They have stopped charging for prasadam. Thank you very much for correcting me. Yeah. What was the reason behind it? Shift in management. Yeah. Prabhupada said we should give free prasadam, Money is not an issue. Once His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj was in the street, I don't know whether it was Europe, in America, and somebody gave £100 or $100 US, wherever he was. And he was so happy. This is early days. So he told Prabhupada, somebody gave $100, You know what was Srila Prabhupada's reply? Don't worry about the money. Krishna can give you whole of America. The question is, what are you going to do with this? So money and all those things going to come. And we look at Prabhupada. He's our Founder-Acharya, What did he come with? What did he went with into Europe, America? 40 rupees. He didn't even use that. So this is, Radharani is here. She's going to take care of all this. She is in the origin of Lakshmi. She's the, so we shouldn't be worried about that. What we should do is take risk. We do whatever we need to do, and Krishna will provide for that. Thank you, Prabhu, for correcting me there. Any other comments or any other questions? And okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you mentioned whatever we desire, we get that in the next destination, in the next life, as you mentioned of Putana. But Prabhu, we see sometimes we have the desire to preach. So does that mean we don't get Goloka? Because in Goloka we can't really preach.
Who said we can't preach? We can go to Goloka when Krishna comes here, you can come and preach as well. But now you have to understand what is Goloka. What did Srila Prabhupada say about this temple? This temple is Vrindavan. So wherever Krishna is, see, we have to understand this. There is nothing but Krishna and his energy. Either we are in the material world or in the spiritual world. If you see Krishna everywhere, we are in the spiritual world. If we try to actually imitate Krishna, then we are in the material world. So there are some people who are very compassionate. And those who are compassionate come and preach, like Srila Prabhupada. So, which one is more fun? Now you have to decide, if you want to preach, and you can preach. I was listening to Maharaj, he said that, yeah, you want to preach. It's very nice, but first get out of here and become pure, And when you go back to God, then I say, Krishna, yeah, when next time we have a mission, can I go, Then you can come as a pure devotee and then come and preach. But the first point is become pure, get out of this material world. People from the spiritual world always come. They come here to take, who are the Vishnu Dutas? Right? They are the ones who come from the spiritual world and take people away from here. So they are preaching as well, just like they were preaching to Ajamil. So we can preach. Okay. Any other questions? So don't worry. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
I always want to know, there's so many people here. I came for the last question as well. And why do we need speakers?
Why do we need speakers? You have to ask the management,
No, it's a recurring thought since I was a child.
Why do we need speakers when there's so many people here? But it's basically, yeah, you are right in a way. But a speaker is mostly for the person who is leading, so that others can listen to it,
True.
And then others can follow that,
100%.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this specific temple.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to you without any speaker, and
Yeah.
it's perfectly audible.
Yeah.
If we are praying,
Yeah.
it's the same chanting that's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. No, I totally understand what you are saying.
We have online viewers, and at the moment 50 people are watching it online. So it has to be connect to that, and it has to relate live in YouTube. So we have 50,000 subscribers, so all over the world they are watching right now.
And yeah, so the mic is connected to the speaker where the sound system is up there. And as Prabhu said, so there's so many people, 50 people watching online at the moment. Yeah, so that is one of the reasons in there. But I know what you are saying. I had, this is way back, I'm talking about somebody came for Janmashtami and the speaker was so loud here. And the kid started crying and the father got very upset, He said, it's so loud here, it's already loud here, So probably, when we are doing kirtan and things like that, we should be, just reduce the volume a bit or something,
The only semblance I get with an answer, I had asked this question when I was little to my grandfather, and he was praying at that time. He was like, let me come back to you. When he came back, he said, maybe they think that if this play with the speaker, it'll reach faster.
Could be.
So I wanted to get a better answer, probably.
Sound travels.
That is true.
You pick up your mobile phone and you talk to somebody in India, the sound travels, So that's why they said when you actually do Harinam, this sound travels throughout the universe and every place gets purified, So, yes, the louder you chant, it's just like Haridas Thakur said, chanting to yourself and chanting loudly is better because it's 100 times more potent. Why? Because others can listen, So, what is the true reason for it? It is there, people use it. But as for classes and things like that, we need this because there are a lot of other people. But when we have, 100 people in here, do we need a sound system or not? Don't know. But at the same time, when you have 100 people here, the leader has to actually lead so that others can listen and follow as well, So there is a reason for that. Okay. Any other comments, any other questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, I know that, of course, book distribution and prasadam distribution goes side to side here in this temple. Both services are going well, very well. My question is, what is more important in terms of preaching?
Both is. Now you look at, I'm just giving an example, right? In LA, for example, that's my sister is there, so I know what's happening, right? They do preaching quite a bit. They do book distribution. They have been doing book distribution for ages. Why aren't people coming? For my example, prasadam is, just like Prabhupada said, prasadam is the most powerful thing. You feed people first, just like once Srila Prabhupada wanted Tamal Krishna Goswami to actually distribute books in Europe. And they had a quota like 10,000 copies they're doing, and Prabhupada wanted him to do 50 copies. So what Prabhupada did is, he organized a lunch for him, right? And he asked Prabhupada, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, to sit on the same table, taking prasadam in. And he was telling him, give him this, give him this, give him. And when he had completely taken, nice prasadam, then he said, okay, this is my proposal, And Srila Gurudev said, I had just taken so much prasadam, how could I say no, And Prabhupada said, this is how you do business. You feed person somebody, and then you give the philosophy. So I think prasadam is very powerful. This is a result of whatever we are getting here is mostly, how many people came for Janmashtami in Sydney? Any idea? Few thousand, And what is the difference from here and there, The main thing is they have been saving prasadam for such a long time, And at one time, I'll just give you an example. At one point, there was some discussion that the management should decide what the menu is, because it was getting expensive. It was during the COVID time. So I said, okay, you guys make the menu and you give me whatever needs to be cooked and I'll cook, right? You tell me what you want, I'll tell the quantity. And then 1-2 festivals, Anuruddha called me and he says, why is the standard of prasadam gone so low, And I said, you guys decide to make the menu, So he said, but this is not your menu. I said, no, it's not my menu. I said, this is the menu I said. This was my suggestion. So I gave my list, He said, don't listen to everybody. You do whatever your menu is right, We can't. So he also was very particular that the prasadam was very, very opulent. And that's one thing attracted lots and lots of people here,
Prabhu, what degree, obviously in this temple, lot of prasadam distribution happens, Prabhu. But to what degree we should actually also continue in future? Because when the people goes lot, increases, then it will be an issue. So how this can be managed, the best managed?
We need a bigger temple, we need a bigger kitchen. So people can come, we can save more and more. As I said, 45,000 students came to Australia from India this year, and most of them want a place for worship. We had 7,000 people in the West where it wasn't fully advertised. But just imagine how many people gonna come next year. So it is our responsibility as the initial devotees to actually provide that facility. And that's what we have to do. We cook for probably about 3,000 people by lunchtime on Radhastami. But that wasn't big enough, We need to cook for 10,000, 15,000 people. We need, facilities like that, So as long as we aspire to do it, Krishna will provide. The problem is our desire, He has everything, Everything belongs to Krishna. What can't He give us? As Prabhupada said, He can give us whole of America. What are you going to do with it? It's our desire and we have to walk to it. As I said earlier, we have to take the risk. Prabhupada said, aim for the moon, worst case situation, you'll get a star, So we have to aim for big, and at least we can get something there. This is something that we need to do, And now Krishna is forcing the hand of the management to say that, okay, we got a problem. This is the first time where they're saying, okay, we need to actually get something in the West. We are trying to actually get people away from this here. But these are all temporary solutions. We need a permanent solution. And somebody has to do it, Do I have, as I said, who has the most to lose? People who have young kids. Do I need to, is my interest fully in there to build a big temple? Not really. I'm being honest here, I got service here. Radha Ballava is my life and soul. Doesn't matter where they are, I'll always come to them. I got service here. I can, I've done a lot, I'm coming to that stage where I want to come and sit down and chant and go, But the young people, you have got most to lose, You are the guys who have to do it. You have to take we can give you advice. I can talk, I can talk until the cows come back home, as they say, But somebody has to take that. I'm only answering I only brought this up because quite a few people ask me this. What do we do, So I thought rather than telling everybody, I said, okay, just listen to my next class. I'll try to cover that, So that was the point, I know everybody may not agree with this, or some will agree with this, But as I said, we have to do this. It is necessity, and we have to take risk for Krishna, and this will become, So that's it. Let's finish our class. Thank you very much. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Radha Ballava ki jai, Jagannath